Most brands are testing hundreds of ads, while Meta thinks they're running the same ad over and over. And that's the main reason why I see many brands that get stuck at a certain level and they are not able to scale even if they have good ads. So in this video, I'll walk you through how we create a creative strategy map for a client of ours and how we use that so that you can unlock new audiences and scale on Meta. Everything I'm going to show in this video is based on what we see working for our clients in the last 6 months, just for the accounts connected to our business manager, because we actually have more. We have an ad spend of $46 million for our clients, and we have a lot of insights on what is working right now and what it's not working. First, I wanted to show you why creative diversity matters in 2026, especially after Andromeda. It's very, very important to have creative diversity in the account, because if two ads are similar, they'll have the same entity ID. And that means that Meta says that their system will treat the creatives as the same entity, sharing the learning and delivery, which will likely iterate your ability to reach new audience cohorts. Like two ads like these, for example, are similar, but that happens also for a lot of videos that are similar. It's fine to test those type of ads. Like if to iterate ads, it's still fine because you can get a bigger percentage of the same audience. At a certain point, you're already getting a good percentage of that audience, and it's very difficult to get a higher one or to get more than 10% higher results there. So what you need to do to then expand more, scale more, is to unlock new audiences. And if you do creatives that are similar, that becomes very difficult. That's one part is very important. That's why we focus so much on creative diversity, especially when an account is scaling, like things are working and they are making several millions a year. That means like something's working, and it makes sense to start to expand and adding creative diversity in the account. With that being said, then another important thing is that most ad accounts don't fail because of bad ads. The problem with most brands is that they don't have strategy behind the ads they are testing. They are just testing everything. And they say, okay, we never know what works. We never understand what works. So we just test everything and we hope something works. That's better than not testing anything. But obviously, like you have to have some strategy and you have to have some understanding why something works, why something doesn't work, and that will inform your strategy. One thing that most brands that scale have in common is they understand who they're talking to, why these people buy, what to test next, what to prioritize in terms of ads. And we have one specific way that we use to do this for our clients. We use a creative strategy map. In this video, we create one creative strategy map step by step for one of our supplement clients. And we'll start from the research that is already done. I have another video where I talk about the research, if you are curious about that too, and also like some resources about that. And then from that, from the research, we'll pick the right angle, awareness level, the persona, and pain point to attack. So actually, wasn't sure if I didn't like our client. I didn't ask them. So what I did is I took a direct competitor. So basically, this product needed is not our client, but the product that we're going to talk about is exact same. So that makes it much easier for us without mentioning the client name. So one thing that is important is it doesn't matter if you have hundreds of products. If you don't have this clear, even like if you are doing something that works, you make 10 million a year or more, but you don't have a good creative strategy map, start with one product. Focus on that product first, right? And we don't want to focus on a couple of products, just one main product. And then you want to research as much as possible. You should know everything about your product. As you know, like you can see, like when you add, it seems simple, like you just test stuff and something works, but actually, for most brands, at least for the ones that are able to create winning ads consistently and not just once, the main thing in common is that they have done a lot of research, and you don't see all of this. For this product, we already did the research, and in the research, we analyzed the unique mechanism, the kindergarten pitch, buyer persona research, social media research, so what's working on organic for this industry, what do these buyer personas actually consume in terms of content on social media, also like searching Reddit and Quora, competitor research, and all of that. And those are all very important things. So we won't cover all of these, but just a couple of insights. Basically, this product is for moms. And on Reddit and Quora, we found some subs where they talk about these topics, and we can use all those questions and answers to then feed to ChatGPT and organize these in the main insights and main findings for informing our strategy. Based on these, and based on everything we researched, then we found 4 main buyer personas. There are several ones, obviously, but these are the 4 ones that we decided to prioritize. And we'll go through these later in the creative strategy map. Then on the competitors and socials, we basically looked at which hooks work well for ads, but also on organic, what are visuals that work pretty well in the ads, also like on the organic videos. Typical questions that these people have, and then any insights from organic and what's viral. Obviously, like there is much more, but this gives you an idea. Another important part is competitor search process. For some brands, it might be less important if they are scaling a lot and they are already like the biggest in their category. But if you are not the biggest brand in your category, at least like in terms of Shopify brands that are scaling with Meta, then you want to do an in-depth competitor search, because you may find some competitors, for example, that are scaling very fast this year. If they are scaling very fast this year, then it means that if you do something similar adapted to your product, it might work very well too. But if they scaled 2 years ago, for example, it might mean that they already took most of the market, and so you can test something similar. Probably it won't work the same for you. So you want to then change something. You want to try to improve something. You want to differentiate your product. And one thing you can do is just getting ideas on the ads. But the other thing you can do, and it's like the next step, and I'll talk about that in another video too, about competitor search, is understanding how you compare to the other products of the competitors and how you are different from them. And that allows you to scale even in a saturated market, even in a market where other competitors scaled years ago and took the market, makes you position as different. And that can be on the marketing or ideally also on the product side. You can then develop the product to be perfect for solving the problem a lot of people have with the competitor product, but it's taking most of the market right now. We use a lot of prompts for this too. If you're interested also like more in the prompts and that part, I can share that. But I think that's interesting, that helps, especially as you scale, but it's not the most important part. That all the prompts, what they do is just make everything faster. And so we can do our search faster, we can write scripts faster and everything, but we always have to have an expert that goes in depth and sees everything and is able to decide what to prioritize, how to change something. And so these are just very important to save time and making sure that people can you can have expert people in the team that can actually focus on what drives the results the most and what moves the needle. First, we will start on Miro with the 4 buyer personas, and I will build the whole creative strategy map. The first thing, as we said, you have to do is deciding the product you're focusing on and then doing the research. We talked about the research briefly before. Once you do that, then you want to talk about the buyer personas. So you should decide the buyer personas you're going to target. You don't have to list all of them, right? You can update this creative strategy map every month. You can change something, you can add something. You don't have to have everything. This is not a science. So it's not perfect. Like, these should only help you to be more strategic and making better decisions. And the goal is not being perfect. You can also structure it a different way. We are not talking about making something perfect, but just like making sure we are organized, and this helps us to find winning ads. First layer is the buyer personas, and then for each buyer persona you have a main pain point or main reason to buy. Okay, and that will inform you the angles you're going to use. Basically, you have actually, let me define first something. So how we see a pain point, desire, or like a reason to buy, like the ones we have here, is basically a market pain point is what pushes people to buy something in order to solve the problem that stops them from achieving a desire. That's the main reason they're buying. And then the angles we have below are basically like the angle you're going to use, right? The frame, the story, like the way you're going to present your solution. Okay, how you are framing the reality. And then also, like, we have a few other things like the format. The format is the package around the message. I'm going to show you that later too, and what the ad looks like. And that helps also to get to different type of people that consume different type of content, and also to communicate in a different way. Like it matters for how you communicate a message. Then you have several direct response elements and the copywriting part. We won't go in depth on that. In this case, we have these 4 buyer personas, each of them with a main pain point. So you have this research rabbit hole first time mom. Okay. The main pain point is that she's overwhelmed by research and she doesn't know what to trust, right? And then you have the sensitive stomach working mom. So main pain point here is prenatals make her sick. So then you have high risk history mom, and she can't risk wrong prenatal after fertility struggles. Then brain optimizing wellness maximalist. So she wants baby's full cognitive potential and not just, it doesn't just want the baby to be healthy, okay? So we found these 4. We want to basically divide that. Okay, let's take this one for example. Like we have this buyer persona, this pain point, and then we want to list the angles divided in awareness levels. So we say, okay, for this buyer persona, this pain point, let's think about angles for different awareness levels. Let's say for people, like for this buyer persona or this pain point, if they are unaware, an angle that could work, for example, she thinks that vitamins are nice to have and are not like super important, right? And she's unaware, so we want to explain her that they have a problem and there is a solution for that problem, and basically like just going from unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware. You're basically making her problem aware, then solution aware, product aware, and then buy now. These are the angles we're going to use to target them. So here, for example, you're going to say, okay, they think vitamins are not that important, so I'm going to explain why they're actually very important, right? And maybe for problem aware, you can have something like she avoids prenatals because they cause nausea or constipation, headaches, side effects, okay? So then we have to explain how we solve this problem and why this product is the best solution. Then you can have, for example, a solution aware angle, like she wants a gentle formula, or product aware. So like she already takes prenatals or wants to buy some prenatals, but for example, she wants like smaller pills that are easier to swallow. I mean, most of it can even be just a discount or something like that. So that depends. Once you list all of these, you're going to have several ones. You can also add 5 or you can add 1. It doesn't really matter. You can also have some where you don't put any awareness level, like any angles for a specific awareness level. That's fine. And then you want to prioritize some of these, okay? So what we usually do, we put a star on the ones we really like. How do we decide that? That's more of experience, okay? So like with ChatGPT, when you put all the data, you do the search, you can also say, you can also ask the frequency of certain questions or certain things that I can help. And like experience is very important too for this. Something that is very important too is understanding like the competitors and like making sure that when you see the competitors, you can and the ads they run, you can understand what works now. You can also understand the competitors, like having good overview of what should work or not. The main things that are important there, in my opinion, is if a competitor is getting very fast this year and they run many more ads and everything, and they are quite a new company, then you can test something similar, adapted to your brand. It will work pretty well. If, as mentioned before, you have main competitors that scaled years ago, then you want to differentiate more. And in general, like for understanding what works for your competitor, you want to look in the ad library and you want to see. A lot of people say the oldest running ads. I don't believe that. Like you can have CBO campaign with like ads spend very little and they are still active. It doesn't matter. And there are a lot of people that leave them active just because they know that people look at the oldest active ads. But what you want to look for is what are they testing now, the new ads. And a lot of them will be new, will be different. And so they are testing something different. But you're going to find some patterns between what they are testing now and what they also have in the oldest active ads. And so when you see those patterns and you see, okay, this is a format or an angle or a buyer persona, like something they are continuously testing through the years, that means that that's working. Because like when something is working, you want to double down on that. At the same time, you want to explore something else. If you see they continue to double down on a specific angle, a specific format, and buyer persona, then you want to also try something similar. And then in general, if you see something on organic, works very well. If there is a trend on TikTok Shop, that's huge. So you want to take advantage of that. So there are a lot of things there that you want to keep into consideration. And yeah, you're just going to prioritize some of these and then you're going to test them. Then based on these, you're going to add the analysis. Normally we do the analysis on a separate part on Notion, but actually you can also add some insights here. So something you can do also that I also like to do is you can just add something like this and say, okay, this didn't work. This it worked, right? You can put it small here. And you can also like put a number with the ad spend or something like that. And also like when it doesn't work, you can also decide if you want to like test it again with different format, a different like change something here, or you want to stop testing. So maybe you can also like put another symbol for something, or you just put something like this if you don't want to test it again. You can also like put a number like for the ad spend or how good the ad was. Another very important thing, in my opinion, that I see a lot of people are missing is that the buyer persona should be something like this. Should be based on what people think, right? It should be based on motivation, pain, desired outcome, maybe the lifestyle, buying triggers, yeah, but especially like the pain they have, the desired outcome, their motivation, like this stuff, and not age, gender, or income. Because a persona is not who they are, it's why they buy. Not in this case, like in this case, the age is going to be pretty similar, but for a lot of products, a 25 years old and a 45 years old can be the same buyer persona, because maybe they have the same pain point. Obviously, there might be a difference there in how you want to communicate to them, but it actually depends. That's something very important to consider. I think for the creative strategy map, that's mainly it. I wanted to show a practical example. If you have any doubts, also let me know in the comments. I did another video, it was more on the theory of how we create it, so you can find also the other video with more details. But also in the comments on Twitter and X, many of you asked for a practical example, so I decided to create this one. The other part is the format. The formats basically help us on improving how we communicate something, because you can have the past messaging. If you don't communicate that well, then it won't work. So with formats, we are able to communicate that better. The other thing is, for the same audience, the same buyer persona, same angle, same messaging, you are able with different formats to go to different audience pockets. In the same buyer persona, you might have people that consume different type of content. If you use only statics or only UGC videos, you're only going to go to a specific pocket of the audience. While if you use all formats, you're going to reach all of them. So which formats work best? It depends. Obviously, ideally, the ones that don't look like ads, they work pretty well for us. And in general, like if it looks like an ad, you're going to scroll. Well, if it doesn't, you're going to stay. And then once you realize it's an ad and the button is going to appear on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, and you understand it's an ad, then you already want to listen. Also, it's very helpful if an ad allows you to target all awareness levels, or like helping you to target also unaware and problem-aware audiences, and help you to educate and entertain them. So one main problem we see is like a lot of ads start to sell at the beginning, or maybe like obviously they are not telling you buy this product, but they already introduced product. It already looks like an ad. It can work for people that are maybe product aware and they already are in market, but they don't work to educate people of why they should buy from you. And so we try to focus more on formats can allow you to really scale and can allow to unlock a much bigger audience and scale. So formats that help to educate, entertain, and then only sell at the end. So formats we use a lot are podcast ads, street interviews, educational video sales starters with authority figures. Or we are also like experimenting more with more formats recently in our studio, like debate format, like stuff like this.
German isn't hard. What's hard is pretending passive stuff.
So yeah, and where you have a debate or a spokesperson.
Nothing frustrates me more.
Where you have an expert, a pharmacist. We basically created this setup in the studio, and a lot of different type of formats. Here you have more podcast ads, street interviews. We have a few different ways to do it.
Quick question: what do you do for a living?
We have these POV street interviews, and also like these ones, like the POV ones are working very well for us. Podcast ads are working super well. These skits.
This is David. He's a successful professional who thinks
a lot more funny. You have other educational ESL ads, POV ads.
If you're a do-it-yourself car person like me, you need to watch this. I want to show you guys a simple hack to be.
You have educational ads just like something like this.
Most protein bars are full of artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols that destroy.
Also like these type of formats. A lot of these are taken from what works on organic. Also like these very simple TikTok style ads work well too. The main thing is like here, you communicate your message in different ways. There are people maybe don't believe someone talking to the camera, but they believe something like this because it looks very similar to the videos they watch. Or maybe someone likes more podcast videos, and so they're going to get more of those ads. So just as a summary, how we add diversity. We want to have different concepts that speak to different buyer personas that tackle different angles and use different formats. That's the most important part. And if you work on all of these, creating your creative strategy map, prioritize some angles, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and make informed decisions based on that, and also experiment with formats, that's going to help you to be able to scale. If you spend already more than $50K a month on ads on Meta, then I have a link in the description. You can book a call with me. We can take a look at what you do, and I give you some tips on what you can implement, and we can also see if we can help you by creating more ads or improving your creative strategy. If you have any questions on these, or you'd like me to show something else in the next videos, just let me know in the comments or send me a message on X, and I'll create more content about this. See you in the next video.